If you want to make your first $1,000 online, I highly recommend going into content creation, and that is because it's the best way to make money online, it's the best way to scale, and you aren't bound to working for somebody else. What would be a better time to record my video on how to make your first $1,000 online than when I'm sitting in a bougie airport lounge that has unlimited drinks, unlimited food, comfortable seating, guaranteed outlets. Like, come on, this is fantastic. Okay, I never realized that this would be where my life was headed, but it's pretty awesome. I've seen a lot of people who are like looking for online jobs and they're trying to work online and find someone to work for online, but the problem with that is you're still trading your time for money. And the reason that I got into content creation and got into online creation and courses and all of that stuff is because I didn't want to be bound to somebody else, and I didn't want to be working for somebody else. I wanted the amount of money that I make to be based off of me, not based off of what somebody else decides. So if you don't know me, I am Kate. I started off by living in a shed that was very badly and honestly barely converted into a house. We didn't even have running water. We didn't have anything. Like, we literally did not have a bathroom. Okay, it was horrible. It was the worst place I've ever lived, and honestly, for a lot of people, that's like the dream still. But I hated it. It was a really miserable situation, and now I'm spending my time in fancy airport lounges on my way out of a fancy horse show where my fancy expensive horse showed and miserably lost, and I'm not even worried about it. And that's the really cool thing about being able to be my own boss, being a content creator. So let's talk about how you can make your first 1,000 online as a content creator and not have to have minimum of 1,000 followers on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. You don't have to have a big following to make big money, okay? I didn't have a big following when I started making big money. I just had a product that worked. So the first thing you're gonna do is have a digital product that works in some way, shape, or form. This can be ebooks, this can be courses, this can be video content, this can be done for you websites, templates, whatever. I don't care what your product is, just find a digital product, and it doesn't have to be anything expensive. So it doesn't have to be like a big fancy expensive product. You don't have to be that influencer who's selling $1,000 courses to make $1,000, okay? My goal is not to get you to be super duper salesy and have to sit and hustle to make money. My goal is for you to make the money easily. So the number one thing that you want to do when you're making this content for this product, I need you all to know that a lot of people are looking at me and it's freaking me out because I never create content in public and this is my first time. So just like as a fun side thing, if you're worried about embarrassing yourself in public, get over it and do it anyway, because that's how you're gonna do the thing. Once you have your digital product, I want you to make social media accounts where your entire personality is based off of that thing or the topic of that thing. So for example, if your digital product is how to get dressed and look like a millionaire when you only have $20 in your bank account, then I don't want you to be making content about your dog and about your family problems and about the fact that your car just broke down. I want you to be making content about how to dress like you're a millionaire when you only have $20 in your bank account, so that people who want the product that you're selling are going to follow you. And even if they're not following you, if they're seeing your content, they're more likely to purchase. When you make content of your face, people are more likely to purchase product from you because they trust you more. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see why I make content of my face, even though I am literally in an airport lounge embarrassing the hell out of myself? So what I want you to do is literally like make this content of your face, and the first part of that content has to be a hook. It has to be something to get people engaged. So there are two types of hooks that I want you to focus on. The first is a visual hook, which is when you like show up immediately on camera, or you're walking and you have your camera facing you, or you're like taking a drink of something, or you're making your breakfast, or you're doing your makeup. But when you're doing these things, I don't want you to tell people what you're doing, because they know what you're doing. They know that you're doing your makeup, right? They know that you're making your breakfast or making a drink. What I want you to talk about is the topic at hand, and I want you to talk about it in a way that people care about. So either in like a story format or something else. So you can tell a story about the thing. Like, I love to tell the story of how I was broke as shit and then stopped being broke as hell, right? So that's one way that I like to do these things, and having a story to tell that then leads into your product and how this is going to work and help other people. And, you know, if you're doing this how to dress like a millionaire when you're broke as hell, then, you know, show off the outfit and how you're putting together the outfit, but don't just talk about how you're putting together the outfit, right? You want to talk about how you're literally going to your six-figure job because you started dressing like this in Walmart clothes and still look like a bajillionaire despite the fact that you're wearing stuff from the Dollar General. Does Dollar General have clothes? They don't. Some of them do, right? That doesn't matter. So the point is, you're going to tell people the story of it and get them them invested. You want people emotionally invested, and you want them to connect to you as a creator and give them some understanding of your authority on the subject. So let's talk about why you can be an authority on a subject and how you're going to be an authority on a subject you're speaking about. Now, I've talked a lot about like affiliate marketing and how to sell other people's products. So the way that you become an authority on that kind of thing is either talk about why that product has worked for you, or talk about testimonials on how that product has worked for someone else. Like if someone is trying to be an affiliate for my author courses, then obviously if they aren't themselves an author, or they haven't really started publishing or started making money from their books, they would not necessarily say, hey, I made all this money from my books, because that's just straight up lying. But they could go in and say, hey, this is this, and this many people have made this much money, and it's changed so many lives, etc., etc. Like, you can talk about how this has worked and helped other people, not just you, and still be seen as an authority because you are just being confident and factual about the thing you're talking about, right? So again, that first thing, get a hook that people care about in some way, shape, or form, something people can relate to or that catches their attention for either like relatability or shock value. You have to get people's attention in some way and then start talking about the thing. And you're not going to immediately start pushing this product, right? I don't care what your digital product is and how good it is. You're not pushing the product, you're pushing what this product does or a way that this product will help people. Or you can push tips on something that is involved in this product, but not like the whole thing, right? So if I'm selling, say, a guide on how to create the perfect hook for your TikTok content, I am not going to push that content by immediately opening my video, having my hook, and saying, hey, have you been struggling with your hooks for your TikTok content? Buy this guide. Instead, I'm going to give tips on creating the perfect hook, on crafting the perfect hook and getting it relatable and all of that. And then I might say, and if you want more info, check the link in my bio. Always have a link in your bio, trust me. And it's so great to have a link in your bio that goes directly to your website so that you don't have any hosting issues on another website. Like if Linktree has an issue, or if like your Linktree link gets all wonky and weird, or if you're trying to do a QR code, like make sure all of this goes directly to your website, not to someone else's website, because you can't control other people's website, but you can control yours, especially because then you can set up a newsletter, you can get people on your contact list, and you're going to start to gain not just followers on your social media accounts that you really don't have control of. Like, remember all of the TikTok drama from this year and last year and the year before and the year before, and guess what? Probably next year too. So you don't really control your audience on these platforms, right? So get them off of the platform, get them onto your site, and get them on your newsletter. So, you know, when you have that link in bio, make sure that link is your link for your website. Put everything in your control that you can so that you're not losing audience members if TikTok goes down, if YouTube goes down, if Facebook gets blown up by an internet spider. I don't know how the internet works. The main thing is, if you have people on your newsletter list, you can save that document as a CSV file. Have it ready if you have to switch servers or something, if you have to switch hosting for your mailing list. You have control of that when people opt into that. Plus, it's so much easier to control the links that you provide when you have links for your own website. Like, trust me, this will change your life. Now, when people go to that link, I don't want them to necessarily just be inundated with, buy this course, buy this course, buy this thing, buy this thing, buy this thing. This is a list of the products I recommend that you buy. I want you to give them a clear goal. So I want you to put them into what's called a sales funnel, where you have a specific goal, a specific thing for them to buy, and then you're going to do upsells from there. You don't want to just hit people with a million products at once, or they're going to get confused and buy nothing. They're not going to know which product to buy, and they'll just buy nothing. So we don't want to do that. We don't want people to get confused and not know which thing is going to help them. So make your content about one specific thing, and then funnel them into the product that helps with that one specific thing. And then when you have upsells, upsell them from there. That is literally why I spent a full weekend totally restructuring my author website so that people are funneled in a very specific way for different products, so that nobody is confused on what to buy. There is a clear starting point that is a very small, cheap product that gets people in, but it gets people in who want to spend money to better themselves in their career. And I'm telling you, this introductory product is a easy way to make your first $1,000 online, especially when you start to platform yourself as an expert in the niche subject that you're talking about. For example, the niche subject that I like to talk about is going viral on TikTok and Reels. I want people to understand how to go viral and how to create a good, solid audience on TikTok and Reels, and how to make good content that is likely to go viral, but also content that is going to sell your products. That is what I talk about, and I talk about it non-stop, okay, probably should not be cursing in this public place. By the way, if you need a guide on how to make good content, make sure to check out The Real Advantage. It's in the link in the description. So you have your content and you have your product. How are we going to funnel people into this? So what we're going to do is we're going to build a thing called a sales funnel. You've probably heard this term quite a bit from influence bros, finance bros, whatever, who talk about making money online, making a ton of money and becoming bajillionaires. You probably hear that term a lot, but they don't always explain what it means in the simplest terms. They try to make it overly complex and make it seem really, really difficult and complicated. The basis of a sales funnel is your content that you make, which is the awareness stage. It's making people aware of your product. So that's the content you make. That's your TikTok account. That's your YouTube channel. That's your Facebook group, whatever, right? So then you are going to lead people to the next stage, which is your starter product. We are going to do a small starter product that is probably between like $25 to $50. We don't want to do anything too expensive. This is just to show people who are interested in spending money and kind of filter them out from people who don't want to spend any money to do the thing that they want to do. So this is going to be like a small starter product. And for my author content, that is Self-Publishing Success. It is my course that is fairly comprehensive, but it basically teaches you how to publish your books online, and it shows you how to like make a really good cover and do all of this other stuff. So that's like my introductory product for this funnel. And then you're going to upsell a larger product after this. However, you might be saying, wait, you said I needed one digital product. What are you talking about upsells? Don't worry, you don't have to have your upsell ready yet. If you just have this introductory product, that's totally fine. Do a mini course, do a PDF that's like 25 bucks. I don't care. Do a very small product, get people on your mailing list with this product when they purchase it. Make sure that they can opt into your mailing list. I like to have it auto check for them to opt in, and then they check it if they don't want to opt in. And then what you're going to do once they've purchased that product, you're going to send them a series of 5 welcome emails. And those 5 welcome emails are mostly going to be helpful information. So you're going to have like a blog post of how to do this very niche thing. You can do a testimonial email. You can do an email of your story. And then your final email is going to be an actual sales email outlining why this secondary product is really, really good. If you don't have that secondary product yet, that's totally fine. Just leave that email out, right? And if you don't have testimonials, that's fine. Just do another blog post or a YouTube video you've made, or, you know, say, hey, follow my TikTok account. Here's the type of content I post. List out some helpful content, right? Like put in the transcript for a video and say, hey, if you aren't yet, follow my TikTok account, follow my Instagram, follow my YouTube, whichever one, and just pick one thing. We want to have one call to action, because the call to action is what you're telling them to do, and if you have way too many, it's going to confuse people and they're not going to do any of it. Now, if you're trying to make your first 1,000, I want you to be posting 3 to 5 pieces of content a day, and that sounds really difficult. That sounds like a pain in the butt, but you're not going to be making 3 to 5 pieces of content per day. You're going to sit and batch create a ton of content over the course of an hour or two, and then you're going to post that over the course of the next week. So you take 1 or 2 hours a week, sit down, make your content, and then you're going to post it. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to sit on TikTok and make a new piece of content 3 times a day. That is such a pain. It burns people out. It's too much work. So plan on sitting and batch creating your content so that you can post it throughout the next week or 2 weeks or 3 or a month. I don't care how long you're making this content last for. Just make enough content that by the time it runs out, you're ready to make more, and you're able to batch create more content after that. So then you're going to batch edit. I like to use the Captions app because it makes the captions just like those really neat ones on TikTok. Like in this video, this is done with the Captions app, and it will auto edit your content for you. So it will auto edit the pauses out. So when I batch create my content, I used to just sit and press record and do it for an hour, but now instead I will sit with my phone and make each piece of content individually, but I'm not going to sit and spend a ton of time editing them. Instead, I'm going to have the Captions app because it's going to take out those gaps, those long pauses, and then you can just edit from there, and it takes a lot less time. So I'll batch record all of my content, 15, 20, 30, 40 pieces of content over the course of an hour or two, and then I will bring that all into Captions, edit them, and then I will go put them in my TikTok drafts. Or you can also use something like Vista Social or Loomly or some other content scheduler and schedule your content instead. Plus then you can schedule it across a ton of different types of social media, which makes it a lot easier to deal with, because then you're posting on a bunch of social media, you're getting people who don't want to use TikTok or people who don't want to use Instagram, and you're getting all of those people. That's why I really like batch creating content, and I really like scheduling content. Before you schedule that content, before your first piece of content goes out, I want you to make sure that link is in your bio that directs people to that first introductory program. And that can be an affiliate program that you are a part of if you want to direct them there, or it can be your digital product. I don't care what that intro product is. We just want to get them to you, to your mailing list, and get them to that product and get them to something that is good, that works, that is going to help them. Because people don't buy content if it's not going to help them. Nobody's going to buy a digital course for something that's not helping them. So make sure that your content is relevant to the thing they want to learn, and then make sure that you are directing them to a purchase that is going to help them. The top 3 things that you can help people with are relationship advice, making money, and getting fit. Okay, those are the 3 things that are going to make you the most money. It's going to get you the quickest sales, especially on those $25 to $50 products. So once you've done all that, you can pretty easily start making your first $1,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 online. This is the exact strategy that I have used to make $300,000 in the past year, and it's the same strategy I'm going to continue to use to make $1 million this year. If you want more detailed information on how to make this type of content and make content that's going to make you money, make sure to check out The Real Advantage. Again, it's linked in the description below.